3 years before her untimely passing, Elizabeth Montgomery shared a shocking revelation about Bewitched that forever changed how fans viewed the show. But let's get to that later. Elizabeth Montgomery was born on April 15, 1933, in Los Angeles, California, the heart of the entertainment industry. Her parents were both connected to show business. Her mother, Elizabeth Daniel Bryan Allen, a Broadway actress from Kentucky, and her father, Robert Montgomery, a native of New York and Academy Award nominee. After finishing acting school, Elizabeth was eager to start her career. However, pursuing acting wasn't initially welcomed by her parents. They were disappointed when she threw herself into the world of entertainment. Still, she needed a big opportunity, and that required a favor from her father. Hoping to give her career a boost, Montgomery sought a role on her father's TV series, Robert Montgomery Presents. Reluctantly, he allowed her to make her debut, though he wasn't thrilled about his daughter entering the spotlight. This strained father-daughter relationship deeply affected Elizabeth. Her difficult relationship with her father not only influenced her career but also spilled into her personal life, particularly her romantic relationships, in unsettling ways. In 1954, Elizabeth married Frederick Gallatin Cameron, a wealthy and well-connected socialite who had no ties to show business. This seemed like the perfect arrangement to win her father's approval. However, given that Cameron was 10 years her senior, the relationship had an odd dynamic. Unfortunately, this marriage was far from ideal. While filming her first Hollywood movie opposite Gary Cooper, things took a dramatic turn in her personal life. Despite being married, Elizabeth was drawn to Cooper, a charming older man who became an irresistible temptation. Their reported affair caused significant repercussions. Elizabeth's marriage to Cameron was already troubled. Her husband wanted her to give up acting and focus entirely on being a homemaker, making her feel trapped and unhappy. It didn't take long before their relationship unraveled, and within a year, they divorced. Now single, Elizabeth fully embraced her independence. While working on the 1963 thriller Johnny Cool, she earned a reputation for meeting her romantic partners on set. In this movie, she played a socialite who falls for a gang member, but off-screen, she fell for the director, William Asher. Like many of her previous relationships, Asher was significantly older than her. Though their relationship posed serious risks, both emotionally and physically, Montgomery went ahead and married him in 1963. The couple had ambitions of becoming a powerhouse duo in the entertainment industry. They soon stumbled upon a project that caught their attention, a comedic series about a modern-day witch and her relationship with her ordinary human husband. This series, of course, was Bewitched, a show that would become a turning point in Montgomery's career. But while it seemed poised for success, the production process got off to a rather turbulent and dark start. Montgomery had landed her dream role as the charming Samantha Stephens on Bewitched. But her dream was about to take a dramatic turn. During the filming of the first season, Montgomery became pregnant, which presented a significant challenge for the production. As her pregnancy became more visible, the show's producers scrambled to find a solution. Their plan? Film all the scenes that didn't include Montgomery first. Once she gave birth, she quickly filmed her scenes, allowing the show to proceed as planned. When Bewitched finally aired, Montgomery captivated audiences, and the producers decided to capitalize on her appeal by introducing a new character. Serena, Samantha's free-spirited and provocatively dressed cousin. Fans loved Serena, but it wasn't just the audience who took notice. Crew members reported seeing Montgomery, still in her Serena costume, sneaking off to a motel with her husband for some private time. While Montgomery's real-life husband seemed to have it all, her on-screen husband faced a series of challenges. Dick York, who played Samantha's husband Darren, began suffering from severe back pain, which worsened over time. The writers tried to work around his condition by limiting his scenes to moments where Darren was sitting, lying down, or absent altogether. Unfortunately, York's back pain led him to rely on medication, which eventually spiraled into alcohol abuse. During one scene, Montgomery realized York was tipsy, and his struggles began to affect his performance on set. As if things couldn't get more complicated, York confessed he was in love with Montgomery, a confession made all the more awkward by the fact that her husband was directing the show. Tensions on set were at an all-time high, and Montgomery grew increasingly frustrated with York's issues, from his pain to his drinking and his unrequited feelings for her. The situation reached a breaking point during the 5th season when York collapsed on set. He was promptly replaced by Dick Sargent. Montgomery, however, wasn't particularly concerned about who played her on-screen husband. What did matter to her was the director's chair, which had been occupied by her real-life husband. When guest director Richard Michaels stepped in, things took a scandalous turn. Montgomery began an affair with Michaels, and on the small, close-knit set of Bewitched, it was impossible to keep it under wraps. The affair ended disastrously. Both Montgomery's husband and Michaels' wife discovered the infidelity, and despite their efforts to salvage their marriages, both couples ultimately divorced within a year of each other. The fallout from the affair left morale on the show at an all-time low, casting a shadow over the production and leaving everyone to wonder what the long-term consequences would be. Elizabeth Montgomery, like many stars of long-running TV shows, grew bored and wanted a way out. When she hinted to the producers of Bewitched that she might be ready to leave, they didn't try to persuade her to stay with kind words. They offered her more money. She stuck around for a few more seasons for the paycheck, but by season 8, she had had enough. Her marriage to the show's director had ended, and she saw no reason to keep playing a character she no longer enjoyed. After nearly a decade, she left the series that had defined her career, finally feeling free. After Bewitched, Montgomery sought roles that would help audiences see her in a new light. In 1977, she starred in A Killing Affair, playing an officer who develops romantic feelings for her partner. Her character's love interest was black, which was still considered taboo at the time. But that wasn't the only shocking aspect of the film. There was also real danger involved. Her co-star was none other than O.J. Simpson, who, years later, would be infamously charged with the murders of his ex-wife and her boyfriend. Fortunately, Montgomery didn't form a romantic connection with Simpson off-screen. By this point, she had moved far beyond her role as the housewife Samantha Stephens, but she wasn't so far removed that she couldn't return to her roots if needed. One thing about Montgomery was clear: she wasn't the most faithful spouse. However, this didn't mean she lacked strong convictions about freedom and equality. In the 1970s, she became an outspoken critic of the Vietnam War, angered by the senseless loss of young lives. Her anti-war stance was bold, as it risked alienating her fans, but what enraged her even more than the war was the fight for equal rights at home. Montgomery was also passionate about the women's rights movement. She recognized the inequality between men and women and wanted to take action. Interestingly, many believed she had already contributed to the cause through her portrayal of Samantha Stephens. Samantha's character, with her dominant role in her marriage, was seen as a symbol of shifting gender dynamics. The New York Times even called Samantha a hopeful role model for a changing society. Montgomery also made a subtle statement about gender equality while filming Bewitched. By the end of the series, she was eager to express her support for the women's liberation movement. At the time, women across the country were protesting inequality by burning their bras. Montgomery took a quieter approach. She simply stopped wearing hers while filming. It was her own discreet way of joining the movement while still bound by her role as Samantha Stephens. Elizabeth Montgomery played a significant role both on and off screen during her time on Bewitched. The show famously had two actors named Dick portraying Samantha's husband: Dick York and Dick Sargent. Interestingly, Dick Sargent, the second actor to take on the role, was gay. Montgomery supported her TV husband by actively participating in the gay rights movement. In 1992, she and Sargent served as the Grand Marshals of the Gay Pride Parade in Los Angeles. But Bewitched held deeper meanings beyond its charming plot lines. According to Montgomery, the series symbolized repression, centering on a woman who had to hide her true self. At the time Bewitched aired, being gay was not only stigmatized, but also illegal, with serious legal consequences. This led some to wonder if being a witch on the show was a metaphor for being gay, an idea that resonates when viewed through a modern lens. The series also featured several LGBTQ+ individuals in its cast and crew. Paul Lynde, who played Uncle Arthur in 10 episodes, eventually came out as gay. Maurice Evans, who portrayed Samantha's father, was reportedly gay, and there were rumors that Agnes Moorehead, who played Samantha's mother, might have been a lesbian. This led some to dub it the gayest cast in TV history. Montgomery cultivated a circle of friends within the LGBTQ+ community. When the AIDS crisis devastated the nation in the 1980s, Montgomery stood firmly by her gay friends and took action. Always politically engaged, she became one of the first celebrities to publicly support efforts to combat the epidemic. Her courage and compassion during this time made a significant impact. Tragically, Montgomery's bravery was tested in her personal life as well. She was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and just 8 weeks after receiving the diagnosis, she passed away at the age of 62, surrounded by her loved ones.